Okay, go for it.
Ron, James, and Kate were walking home from school when they saw a poster advertising a fitness challenge for children. James and Kate glanced at each other, their eyes alight with excitement. They were naturally athletic and relished the chance to prove themselves. Ron, on the other hand, merely groaned in response. He realized what his two good friends had in mind and was racking his brains to think of a way out of the tricky situation. To Ron's dismay, Kate turned around to face him. It looks similar to the physical fitness test we do in school, except that it awards prizes, she said, rubbing her hands gleefully. James nodded in agreement and tried to stifle a grin. After studying the poster in detail, Kate became quite serious and pointed out that they would need to learn some techniques to ensure that the exercises were done properly. Ron could only manage a faint smile. I must build up my strength and stamina too, he sighed, shaking his head.
Okay, thank you. Generally smooth and fluent reading with very few errors in pronunciation. One or two that I can detect, and I just want to point out to you, okay? So, in the second paragraph, right? Second last line, to ensure that the exercises. So whenever you see a vowel after the, it changes the sound of the to the. So it's not the exercises, it's the exercises. So it's the car, but the elephant. Got it? So the car, why? Because car is a consonant. C, S, P, V, all these are consonants. So and as long as a consonant comes after THE, it makes the THE sound like the. But if it's a vowel that comes after the THE, then the vowel will make the THE sound like the. Right? So the elephant, the aeroplane, the ice cream cone. Right? A-E-I-O-U. Everything causes the to become the. It's a minor point, but some teachers are very particular about this. So do be aware that if the word THE comes before a vowel sound, always change it to the. Okay, so the exercises were done properly. Okay, otherwise it's the, right? I think there's another place where it's the, I think earlier on, okay, there's a the, okay? Um, the tricky situation, that's right, right? So the tricky situation, but the exercises. So that's minor. I think that's not too much of a problem. Right, what else is there? Okay. Okay, next is the dramatization of the dialogue. So dialogue, right, must always sound different from narration, right? Because there are three tones in this passage. The narrator's tone, Kate's tone, Ron's tone, right? And each of them have a different tone. That's how you vary the pitch and tone in order to score the highest band in reading. How do you vary the pitch and tone? By making the dialogue sound different from the narration. So your narration is perfectly fine, no problems there, but your dialogue can afford to be more differentiated, must sound different, more different than it actually already is. Why? Because Kate and Ron are actually opposite in terms of their feelings. What feeling is Kate experiencing in paragraph 2?
Excited.
She's very excited, right? What is she excited about? What is causing the
Getting
excitement?
getting the prizes.
Yeah, so the prizes are what cause the excitement. Therefore, when you come to the awards prizes, right, that part should go up in tone, right? So it looks similar to physical fitness tests we do in school, except that it awards prizes, right? Why is she emphasizing that? Because she wants to get the prizes. She's very excited about it. So when she comes to that, right, her voice must go up to show excitement and enthusiasm. And then, rubbing her hands gleefully, that's the clue in the passage that tells you how excited she is, right? When someone's rubbing their hands, is that like they're anticipating something is going to happen, right? Very good, right? They are maybe looking out forward to something very delicious, or they're looking forward to a very good thing that's about to happen to them, right? They are rubbing their hands gleefully. That's the clue. Whereas opposite side is Ron, right? What is Ron experiencing in the last paragraph? What emotion is he feeling?
He's feeling very
Hmm.
like sad.
Okay, sad is a very general word to use, but I would say that he's feeling more like discouraged or down because he realizes that he's not like James and Kate. They are athletic and they are strong, so they are able to win this award or prize very easily. But he's not, right? He's not as fit as they are. So that's why he's feeling a sense of discouragement, right? He thinks that he must do a lot to build up his strength and stamina to become like Kate and James. Okay, so what tone is he going to be exhibiting when he feels this way, when he feels discouraged and down, right?
Like very slow, and then the pace is also.
So your expression will be down, your tone will be down, your pace will be slow, right? So just as Kate's goes up, right, it awards prizes. Ron must come down to show that he's sighing and he's feeling discouraged, right? When you sigh, you usually feel very discouraged, right? Hi, I can't do it, right? So it's a low tone. So I must build my strength and stamina to, so you can elongate the two, use the two to show the sighing of Ron as he shakes his head. Okay, so I must build my strength. I must build up my strength and stamina to, right? He sighed, shaking his head. So the contrast between Ron and Kate is going to be what shows the differentiation of pitch and tone, right? That enables the teacher to qualify you for the top band. So be careful, especially when you read the dialogue, that you pay attention to the emotion. Rubbing hands gleefully, sighing and shaking head. Opposite. Okay, so practice your dialogue. Would you want to just read the two dialogues and try to practice the up tone and the down tone for me? Just the two dialogues, okay?
It looks similar to the physical fitness test we do in school, except that it was prizes.
Okay, that it awards prizes. You can afford to go even higher, but that's fine. Okay, next one.
I must build up my strength and stamina too.
Okay, I must build up my strength and stamina too. Okay, so you can actually lower your head and lower your tone at the same time so that it reflects in the way that you read. Because often your expression and your posture affects the way that your reading sounds like. If you're very upright and you're very confident, you will sound more cheerful. If you're like shrunken and you're hunched over, then you will sound more down and low. Okay, so you can use your posture to reflect and dramatize the reading to make it more convincing. Okay, so those are the two minor points, the and the the, as well as the expression in your reading of the dialogue. Otherwise, most of the other readings are fine, no problems at all. Okay, so your word endings are fine, your punctuation is fine. Okay, so just the person, the last P. Okay, now let's look at the picture. Okay, so the photograph shows a Flag Day donation. How do you think the people in the photograph might be feeling and why?
I think the little girl in the photograph might be feeling happy as her eyes lit up with joy when she saw people donating to the people in need. I think the people receiving the donations are also happy as they receive they are smiling. I have donated before. Like when I was in primary 2, my school organized a donating event when we had to put money in envelopes and donate to the people in needy. I went home and told my mother about it, and she put $10 and I brought it to school. Although it was not much, but after the school counted all the money, it added up to a few $1,000s. We were very happy to help the people in need. I think I should participate in more donation events in the future so that I can help more people in need. In conclusion, I think the people in the photograph might be feeling happy.
Okay, so just a few pointers here. First of all, the people in the photograph do not just include the two people in front, but it also includes a man standing in the background with a plastic bag and a backpack. It also includes the woman who is hugging the girl, likely the girl's mother. So if you want to expand your response, do talk about the other characters because the question is people in the photograph feeling. So everybody in the photograph is included in people. Okay, so you might want to talk about the man who is the volunteer for the Flag Day donation. He's holding the tin. You might want to talk about the little girl who's doing her part by donating her pocket money. You might want to talk about her mother who maybe feels proud about this little girl's generosity and the fact that she's donating at such a young age. You might want to also talk about how the mother is teaching her the value of being generous and kind and caring to the less fortunate by encouraging her to donate money in the tin. So the mother is also an important character. Do talk about the mother. You might also want to talk about the gentleman at the back, right? Who is standing quite close, holding on to the plastic bag and the backpack, right? He might be watching what's happening, and he might also be influenced by what the little girl is doing to also want to donate to the tin that this man is holding, right? Possible? It's possible, right? So he might feel inspired or encouraged or, maybe even a bit ashamed if he did not donate earlier when he sees this little girl donating money into the tin, right? And he's standing quite close. I'm sure he can see what's happening and hear what's happening. So you might want to talk about him as a contrast, right? The little girl is so generous. The man, right? He seems to have just spent a lot of money shopping, buying things for himself, right? Maybe he should learn from the little girl and use his money to donate to other people instead of buying things for himself and then shopping only for himself and for his own selfish consumption. You might want to contrast, lah, right? So the little girl contrasts with the man that's in the background. That's a possible thing to consider. So whenever you are given a photograph, right, always try to maximize it. Okay, there will be a lot of things in the photograph. I'm not asking you to use everything or use every character, but try to use more than you normally do. Push yourself to talk about more than just the one or two things that you usually talk about. Because often, as teachers, we always feel that the picture is not being used enough, right? In English, oral is always like that. Students tend to only touch on one or two things, then they leave everything else on the table and they rush on to their personal experiences. Okay, so try to avoid that by maximizing as much of the usage of the picture as possible. You can talk about the feelings and you can talk about the reasons why they feel that way. So this man is feeling maybe the man might be feeling tired, might be feeling proud of himself, might be feeling any number of things now, right? And then the reasons why, firstly, secondly, thirdly, he's feeling that way. Okay, then the little girl, right, might be feeling compassionate, generous, right, might be feeling proud of herself, that she has saved up money to give as a donation to the needy, right? Why does she feel this way? Firstly, secondly, third. You can talk about that. Okay, so that's the picture. Huh? Now we talk about your personal experience. Okay, just now you were talking about remembering how you donated money, how your mom gave you $10, then you came to school, then you donated it. When they counted the money, there was thousands of dollars after everybody had put all the money together. I think that's great. Nothing wrong with that. But what can you do to improve your personal experience? You can link it up to a school value. Okay, so every time you talk about your personal experience, right, think of it as an opportunity to share about a value you have learned from school. What are the school values?
Responsibility, resilience, respect, and care.
And there's one new one that was just added last term.
Integrity.
Right? Yeah. So now we have five values. Always keep these five values in mind because anytime you talk about what you experience, right, you want to link it to a value, something that you can potentially share about what you learn. So in this case, what is the value that's easiest to link to this experience of donating money?
Care.
Care, right? Very, very easy to talk about care, right? And why is it that it's care?
Because you're helping the needy.
Yes, so you are demonstrating your care and consideration for and sympathy or compassion for the needy, right? And this is a value that Sin Primary School has taught you, hasn't it, right? It's one of the school values. And as a prefect, as a senior prefect, what must you do?
Be a role model.
Yes, you must role model or exemplify or display such a value. And by donating money to charity, aren't you setting an example for the rest of the students to follow? Right? Aren't you being a role model to be generous and to share a part of your money so that the less fortunate can get money to buy food and buy books and help them with their living expenses? Yes? Okay. So connect your school value to your experience. Anytime you're talking about yourself, try to talk about a value that you learn from the experience that you went through. You learn to be more caring, right? Because school teaches you to be caring. And caring means showing and sharing your love with people who may be less fortunate than you through money or clothes or whatever, right? You can talk about that. Okay. Then your example, did you talk about example? You didn't, right? Okay, so I'm not saying that you must always have an example, but it gives you more things to talk about, lah, right? So if you want to impress the examiner with a lot of things to say, try to use all the ingredients in three right? So you talked about your thoughts, your reasons, your experiences. Then the next one is examples. What is example?
Like you heard from your friend, you saw on YouTube.
Exactly, right? So it's very easy. You can just tweak your story a little bit, right? Or you can tweak your example a little bit. So in this case, you're talking about donating money to charity, taking the $10 and giving it, right? Then your example might be about volunteering. Maybe you heard from your friend that he volunteered as a Flag Day donation volunteer, like this man in the picture. Then you can share your friend's experiences. Maybe he was very tired. Maybe he found it very fulfilling. Maybe he encountered very rude people who told him to go away, right? Because they didn't want to donate money. You can think about such things. And you can add that in as an example to further develop your response, right? Because experience is yourself, ma. Example is somebody else, ma, right? So if you talk about somebody else, you give a different perspective to this particular topic. And you can talk about other things besides donation. You can talk about volunteering, or you can talk about maybe your friend help the needy to clean their house, right? You know, there are people who go around helping the disabled or the less fortunate to clean their houses or to, you know, spruce up their place, right? To make it more livable. You could talk about that. So there are different things you can talk about. Okay, so that's under your examples. Then what's after examples?
Suggestion.
Suggestion. Did you give a suggestion just now?
No.
No, you went straight to conclusion, right? So that's something that you must consider. Having a suggestion is usually a good idea because a suggestion is, that means you're adding an idea that is related to but outside of the question. And that is one of the criteria of achieving the highest band in stimulus-based conversation. You introduce related ideas that go beyond the question. Okay, so when you give an idea for improvement, a suggestion for improvement, you're actually fulfilling one of the criterion of the top bands in stimulus-based conversation. That's why I include the suggestion for improvement there, right? If you want to score the highest band, try to think of how this can be improved. So in this case, right, you're talking about the Flag Day donation, right? So what suggestion can you give to people who are listening to you as you're talking about this charity donation and everything?
Suggest them to encourage more people to donate during the Flag Day donation to help more
Okay.
needy people.
Okay, encourage them to donate more, or encourage them to get other people to donate more, or encourage them to participate as volunteers in such Flag Day donations so that more people can get out there and help the needy to collect money and funds for what they need, right? Okay, so the idea is to spread the word, right? The idea is to get as many people to know about it, to increase the donation or to volunteer themselves to be part of the donation drive as possible. Okay, so you want to spread the word, right? And that is your suggestion for improvement before you go into your conclusion, which is perfectly fine as well. Okay, so to summarize, trees, try to use all the letters as far as possible. If you cannot, it's perfectly fine, but the most important thing is the experience. Okay, and then in the experience, try to connect the experience to a school value or maybe more than one. Okay, you can use any of the 5 school values and connect it to your experience. Talk about how this experience taught you this value or helped you to exemplify or model this value better. Okay, so far so good?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm afraid I'm out of time. 20 minutes flies by very fast. It's now 6 o'clock. So I will stop here, but I will send the video to you so you can apply what I've taught you to the other questions as well. Okay, so just remember, whenever you start a response, if the question asks you something that doesn't start with T, right, you can always start with the experience first. Okay, but you can always come back to the thoughts and your reasons after you finish your experience. Okay, right? For example, if they ask you, tell me about time when you donated money to charity, then you can tell the story. Then after that, you can say, oh, I think donating money to charity is very important because. Then you go back to your T and your R. Okay, you can start with E, but you can always circle back to T and R by asking the why question. So donating to charity, right? Why is it important? Oh, I think donating to charity is important because firstly, secondly, thirdly. Okay, you can always ask the why question to circle back to your thoughts and reasons. Okay,
Okay.
all right, that's it. I have someone waiting in the waiting room. I'm sorry, I can't carry on anymore. If you have any questions, please ask me again on Monday. If not, just review the video, okay? Any other questions that you have for me?
No.
Okay, thank you very much. Good job.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.